All right. What's goody, guys? Waiting for some of the viewers to come on. As some comes on, I'm gonna say what up to you guys. If you guys do see me taking left to right, it's because I am looking at different angle of the camera. So don't mind me. What's good, everyone? All right, guys. So tonight, I am gonna have a special guest with me that will be sitting side by side me on this couch. Tonight's topic is basically loving God and being gay. I know some of you guys already is like, oh, why? Like, what is he about to say? Because my mouth is reckless, right? I promise I'll keep it to the topic. I won't, say anything too major. So with that being said, I'll give you guys a little bit more time to tune in. If you guys have any questions, you guys could drop them in. I would ask them. I will answer them as much as I could. If not, then he could answer them. Alright. So, if y'all would love to welcome the person that's going to be talking tonight, we could just welcome Daniel.
First of all, I'm not going to be the only one talking, so don't even try to do this.
So, what up? Alright, guys. So, like I said, I did. So, like I said, the topic tonight is basically loving God and being gay, right? So, if you guys have any questions, you could drop it. If anything, if I have for ones and twos, I will butt in. Other than that, I'm just going to turn it over to him, and he could give his little ones and twos, you know?
Okay, so my name is Danny, for those of you who don't know. The topic tonight is loving God and being gay. So, for me, obviously, yes, I am gay. But should I smack you now or later?
Go ahead, come on, they waiting.
But for me, so I've grown up in church. I was born and raised in church. Church is all I know. When I was younger, I used to fall asleep on my mother's lap while I was in church. So I built a relationship with God. I love God because I know without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm somewhat successful. I don't think that I'm at the place that I want to be for the rest of my life, but I know I'm as successful as I can be right now because of God. And
so do you just go because your parents are going, or do you go because this is something that you wanted to go? Because I know some of us, we're forced to go to church with our parents. And I know my pastor always just tell me, parents don't force your kids to come because you really don't have that connection with God when you guys do go, right? Or when we go. So it's do you go because your parents say, hey, we're going? And do you go without them? Do you go faithfully?
So for me, I first honestly went because my parents told me to go. More my mother than my father. And because my mother also was raised in the church. So I was always taught from her, no, you have to go every Sunday. You have to be there, love God. Even if you're not comprehending everything, you still have to be in the sanctuary so that way it's seeping into you. Over time, as I've gotten older, especially in my teens, I realized that, no, I do love God. I built a relationship with him. And I realized that I want to go because of myself. Not because of my mother telling me, oh, yes, you should go. This is something that you should do. I realized that I go because I genuinely love God. Like I said, I built that relationship with him. I understand that I couldn't survive right now, today, without him.
And why? Why you feel that way?
Because I feel like with everything going on in the world, you have to look at something. If you don't believe in God, that's okay, that's fine. But I feel like you have to believe in something. If it's you're believing in the universe, if it's you're believing in a higher power, if you're believing in God or any other type of God, I feel like in order to survive and in order to understand what is going on, you have to believe in something. And for me and my brother and I were having this conversation earlier, this pandemic really opened everyone's eyes.
It sure
and
did.
Him and I feel like God placed this plague on this earth for a reason. So some people, maybe you're at home, you're unemployed, but you're tapping into your other businesses. You're tapping into an additional mindset that you didn't think that you were doing before. So maybe you have an OnlyFans. Maybe you created another business. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, but I'm saying like you're not thinking about your regular 9 to 5. You're thinking about like, okay, maybe you have children. Maybe you have a family. I need to support my family. I need to support my children. I need to support my lifestyle. So now I have to think of, okay, what can I do in order to make some money? And not like quick money, but like a substantial amount of money that will fulfill my lifestyle.
So with being gay and African American also, and living the world we live now, like what were some of the challenges that you had? Did you face any challenges, like especially being gay, being black, should I say? And
Black.
well, African American. I mean, you're not purple, right?
No, I mean I could.
But yeah, like any challenges you face it, like do anyone know in your church that you're gay, or like how would that? Well, answer that question first.
So my church is a very open church. I don't go to a church where it's not accepted to be gay. I go to a church where it is accepted to be gay, because each individual person has their own relationship with God. So I have cousins, they're not blood cousins, but like we all grew up together. We call each other cousins. 2 of my cousins are openly gay, so am I. They've brought, one female, one male, they've each brought their significant others to church. So the pastor has accepted them. One of my cousins actually was engaged, and she brought her fiance to church. So I've grown up in a community that has been very accepted. Now, in regards to like me going to school or me walking down the street, I faced other challenges there by being gay. But in my family, it's more accepted than not. Like I will say, you do have those family members, I know everyone does, where, oh no, you shouldn't be gay, or why are you doing this, and you're going to hell, and I can't believe this, I'm gonna disown you. But I feel like there comes a point where those family members have to realize you are who you are, and even though you like what you like, you're not going to astray from the person that they knew before.
I mean, to butt in, I could kind of relate, to relate, because like growing up, yeah, I went to church or whatever, and I went because of my girlfriend at the time, and I think I was fighting. At the time, I really didn't like guys. That's a different topic. So like every time I would go to church or whatever, like yeah, I was baptized and all that other stuff, right? But like the pastor always just tell me, you know, God didn't make you this way. We're talking about my tattoos and other things, and then when my girl didn't come, he would like, oh, you have to leave her or whatever. And you know, because she wasn't coming with you, and my pastor would say like, if you're not there together, that you both can't receive God at the same time, that you're gonna face different challenges. And not in a sense, I don't believe that, because there are people that are together and are faithfully in the Bible, faithfully go to church and everything, and there's significant others that aren't into that you know would just pray on a regular daily day or whatever. But so like you say, your church is open to people. So how do you feel like church should play a role in the LGBTQ community, or like should they not like have a role in the, you know, gay community?
Believe it or not, a lot of churches do play a part in the LGBTQ community.
Some, not all, some, because you know, especially when I used to go, and the pastor used to always talk about same-sex marriage and all that. I kind of, although I didn't know myself that I liked the dudes at that time, he was signing other people out, right? It's like, oh, God didn't make you this way, but then they say God accept you for who you are. So if he didn't make me this way, he should accept me for who I am, right or wrong. So I don't think all church plays a big role in the gay community. That's my opinion.
I don't. Well, think about it like this: there are at least one gay person in every church. They may not be open.
They are, but I think they are afraid to come out because of the disown that their church might give them. Like, I mean, you didn't face that, but I know there's probably other people out there that face that disown because they came out to their pastor, right? I'm not gonna put anyone on air. Like, I've been to churches where I know where, you know, people are openly, I mean, they're not openly, but they are gay, right? And they'll go to church and they'll sing and they praise the Lord, and but yet you'll see them in pride, or you see them and, you know, you're like, what? So, like, I feel like you're living a double life. So
but that's like with
how
anything.
can you, you're right, but like, so why shouldn't church just be open in general all around the world and just accept people who they are?
They should, but that's just how church is. I mean, that's how the world is, unfortunately. The world is more accepting of gay people now, but before, like 10 years ago, the world wasn't that accepting. So it's kind of like, it's hard, and I get it, but you can't really say like, oh, this church is going to accept it and maybe that church should, but they're not. So it's kind of like difficult to say. Like, yes, I would say all churches should accept each and every individual because we are all human. We all bleed the same. We're all born the same. One person is not better than another, but at the end of the day, every person has an opinion. Every person's views, every person's upbringing is different. My upbringing may have been more accepting than others, but for me, it's still also a struggle because, like, maybe you'll tell this person you're gay, but maybe you won't tell another person you're gay. So it's kind of like...
So someone said old school churches still doesn't approve of the LGBT community. So what do you have to say about that? So before I answer that, you did say something else, and I don't recall what you said. Oh, so I like, what age do you know that you was gay?
What age
and did
I
you
know?
notice that you was gay in church or before you went to church?
Okay, what
age you knew you was gay?
Okay, so that's different layers. When I was in, I want to say kindergarten, I knew, first of all, don't even know. I knew I was different, and the reason why I knew I was different is because I don't know if anyone has ever like played house in kindergarten.
Who hasn't?
So I was always the wife. I was always the woman, and I was kind of like, okay, this is what I felt comfortable with. This is what I wanted to do, but I didn't know that I was gay until I want to say about when I was in middle school, when I finally realized, like, wait. Because in elementary school, I was trying to date girls. I was trying to, like, you know, kiss a girl and all that. You know, when you're in the 5th grade, you're trying to do all of that.
So you said kindergarten, but when you get to elementary, you knew right then that you didn't want that. Like, you wanted
When I was in elementary, I knew I was different, and I didn't know why.
Okay.
I knew I was different than every other student.
Right.
When I went to middle school, and when I was exposed to the whole sex stuff,
right.
Not saying I was having sex in middle school, because I was not. But when I was exposed to all of that, yeah, I know you were. I realized that, yeah, I actually do like men. Like, I actually do like boys. Like, it is what it is.
So 2 viewers had a question. One viewer asked, how can someone find a church that's accepting to the LGBT community?
So that's actually very difficult because not every church is going to be openly accepted. So my church right now, of course, because of COVID, we're not in the sanctuary, so we're doing a lot of things virtually. But you can kind of go to a lot of churches, and I know a lot of people don't like to church hop, but you kind of have to church hop in order to find a church that is accepting of you. And you will kind of know by the preacher. You'll see how the preacher preaches his or her sermons on Sundays. Also by who is not overseeing the service, but who is kind of like up there, not ministering, but the person who's up there, like the praise and worship leader, or like the person who is like reading the scripture and stuff. You'll by going to different churches, you'll understand who is more accepting by the people that are representing the church. I should say it like that. The congregation is not going to represent how the church is, because you are going to have a lot of people in congregations that are opposed to same-sex marriages, that are opposed to same-sex relationships. But I personally would say, look at the people who are representing the church. Look at the deacons, look at the usher boards, look at mostly the preacher and the people who are in front of the people on a daily basis.
So for the other one, it's like when you're basically old school, and I don't know what you mean by old school, but
like the down south.
Right. And especially growing up around, the Southerns and growing up in a Christian house, how should someone approach that to their family and say, hey, mom or dad, this is me? Because, for example, and that's a different topic, I'll touch base on that when I do my coming out video. I feel like when you're in church or your family is growing up to that, you're really not accepted, right? And it's hard to actually go to your parents and tell them you're different because you like a woman or a man, right? So if I cannot go to my mom or dad, can I go to my pastor without being judged?
That depends on the relationship you have with your pastor. Because, believe it or not, some people don't have that close-knit relationship with their pastor. For me, on the other hand, and that's why it's kind of different for me, because my pastor is also my aunt. So I grew up in a church where, it's been mostly family. So for me, I don't want to say it was easier, because, I'll be honest. I never officially came out to my parents. My parents know because of other reasons. But I never really officially said, Mom, Dad, I'm gay, this is what it is.
And are you afraid? Well, let's stay in the topic. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, am I afraid to tell them?
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to tell them.
They're obviously parents of the Lord, right? So are you afraid that they might view you differently?
No, because my mother knows. Mm-hmm. So, side note, when I was in, was it high school or college? I think it was college. I had to write an essay about myself. And when I was in college, my mother would proofread a lot of my essays just to make sure that it was up to par and before I would submit it and everything. So there was an essay I had to write on myself, and it was about me being gay and all that, this, that, and the third. So I had my mother proofread it, she read it, and then she gave it back to me. So I know my mother knows that I'm gay. I know that she kind of knows that I have a boyfriend, but I think for her it's more of when you say something to me, sort of thing. So it's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit different for me.
Corona. Okay, but I get it. I mean, and there's a lot of people that is out there that's not so judgmental or, really don't care, right? And every time I'm going to give an example, I go to the barber shop and I'm at Broadway Junction and they're preaching the Lord, and that's the first thing they say, same-sex marriage, you're going to go to hell or whatever. So for a person, I stopped going to church.
But adultery, you can go to hell.
You're right, but I stopped going because the reason why I stopped going is because I still believe in God. And I still listen to the Bible, listen to gospel music, and sometimes I'll tune into service here and there if I have the time. But the reason why I stopped going is because I felt like every time I went, there was always the pastor would want to talk about gays. And it's yes, I felt like I was being judged. And there were people in my youth as well that, are now a trans, and they don't go no more either because of that, right? So I feel like for you, yes, you could say it was easy, but for most of us, it is kind of hard to stay in church and still have that connection with God because of who we are. Right?
But I will say this, you don't have to go to church to have a connection with God.
Absolutely. He's everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And my mother always used to say, if you want to praise him where you at. But I had something else to say and I totally forgot. Yeah, I don't know.
But also, you don't have to actually physically go into the sanctuary. You can now, obviously, watch church virtually. You can read the Bible if you want to. A lot of people who say, being gay is a sin and you're going to hell. But no, like I said, adulterers go to
That's
jail.
what I wanted to say.
They go to hell.
So, for a person that's growing up in church, how do you feel because they don't believe in same-sex marriage, right or wrong. Like, they don't believe in it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, now is, illegal in certain states. So, how do you feel about that? Like, what I'm trying to get is that I feel like all churches should play a role in the LGBTQ community. And the reason why I say, because I feel like that's a safe zone for a lot of people to go to, right? Whatever it is, I feel like being in the church, you feel safe, especially if you have that connection with your pastor or whoever is in the church. But like, how do you feel about the whole same-sex marriage? Don't ask me, because y'all already know my
I know your answer. I'm fine with same-sex marriages. He's not, whatever. I'm fine with it only because I feel like you can love who you love. I understand on paper it's different. So it's not considered a legal marriage. It's kind of like a partnership. But for me, I kind of feel like you love who you love. If you want to get married, you should be able to get married. I don't think people should stop you from doing that, but I know like that obviously that does happen. But I'm acceptive of it. Hopefully one day I can get married. Maybe I will. I'm not sure. I want kids, depending on how I will get kids and how that process is. We'll see. I'm a little bit too young to do that right now. Not really, but for me, it's kind of like I'm acceptive of marriage, same-sex marriage, straight marriage, whatever you want to call it, because I feel like, in a way, it is what it is. Like, you're gonna tell me I can't be with the person that I love. I can't spend the rest of my life with that person because of a paper. That's how I feel. I mean, common law marriage, after 7 years, you're basically married together. So, like, what's the difference?
Right.
Is a paper going to tell me how much I love you?
Right. And that's my view on it, but that's a different topic. So, like, okay, you say you didn't struggle, right? And
I won't say that I didn't struggle. There were struggles that I've had.
Okay.
But,
like, for someone that is struggling right now, how can you connect with them and let them know that it's okay to be you and still go to church? Although you say you don't have to go to church to be connected with God, but like that person might want to go on a regular, and they're afraid to say, hey, mom, dad, pastor, whoever, or the person that's in the church or whatever, the deacon or whatever, I don't know the list of pyramids that you guys have. Yeah, because this is a pastor, sister, pastor.
Don't go there.
I don't know the pyramid.
Talk about a pyramid.
So, like, how can you connect with them? Like, what do you would say to them if someone wants to say, hey, Danny, like, I'm facing this right now, and like, what's some of the advice that you would give them?
I would say speak to your friends or try to find someone who has that relationship with God who can kind of pray for you. That's another thing I would say. Pray. Praying is just a conversation with God. It doesn't have to be all elaborate. You don't have to speak in tongues. You don't have to do all that. You literally can just...
Please don't ever do that, Rob.
I'm just saying, you don't have to go into the spirit and all that. A lot of people have that misconception. All you really have to do is just have a basic conversation with God and speak to Him. Try to find, if you want to, because everyone is different, if you want to find a church home, try to find that church home. But I would say communicate with the people around you, because you will be surprised what people around you are actually going to church, what people around you are actually reading their Bible, or they're actually praying, and you could learn something from them.
So do you believe in more than one God, or you believe in one God?
That's a whole nother topic. I do believe there is a God, yes. I do believe that everyone has a different God that they pray for or they believe in or pray to. But for me, I feel like there's one God. But I understand that everyone's God may be different. Because everyone's religion is different. So I'm Christian. Someone may be a Baptist. Someone may be... I'm just saying, like, there are different denominations and everyone believes in something different. I will say that. Are there any questions?
No, the viewers don't have any questions. They're really quiet. They're just liking and saying hi. If you have any questions, you could drop. I mean, no, I just wanted to touch because I feel like this topic, like everyone faced it, and I faced it even going to church. And like I said, I just didn't go anymore because of everything that I went through, right? And I don't believe that you have to, I took out my piercings at one point to focus in church, and I, went Sunday through Friday or whatever, and I was
I didn't
there.
do all of that.
Like I was there, I was dedicated because like my pastor told me to find God. This is what you have to do. So I wanted to find God, and the struggles that I was going through, I think that was the only safe zone I had. So that's what I went, right? I went to youth. I did all that. I wanted to be part of the church community, and I wanted to stand up there with them because I just thought it was cool. But like looking back, it's just like I left because of X, Y, and Z. And I don't think, a lot of us should leave or be afraid of who you are. Like, so what if you're gay, lesbian, trans? Like, I just don't.
You left because of a person or a situation, or because you
I
felt
left.
like you
I left because my pastor always would talk about same sex at any scripture that he did, and I felt like when he was talking about it, it was kind of pointing finger at me, right? Like, oh, hey, I'm talking about you, and not. Or this is not what God wanted, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And even when he used to make comments about my tattoos, like, "Oh, God didn't make you this way; you're destroying His body." But then again,
but no one is perfect,
right? Because we have people that are having kids and not married. So isn't that against the religion too?
But
right?
that brings
like
me.
That's
but
against
no.
The whole Bible, right? That's the whole against everything else that God believes in, like. Yeah.
But that brings me back to the point of you have to find a church that's right for you.
Right. So like what they say, how do you find that? Like I could go to church today and they could talk about same sex, that's this, that's that, and kick me out, and I go to another church and they could do the same thing. So how do I know when is the right church? Me personally, if I were to go to church, it would be more of how can I say? I like to go to a black church.
What type of black church?
I don't care what type it is. I feel the pastor there is different. Like she'll connect with you, especially the church that my cousin will go to.
So you want to go to
If the pastor makes a comment, pass judgment, what makes him your leader? If the Bible says no man should judge, let's talk about.
But see, that's the thing. Everyone, unfortunately, is going to have their own opinion. So the pastor may be preaching something.
I'm sorry. I actually like that, and I wish you wrote that in the comment for everyone to see it. But yes, because you did say it's depending on the relationship you have with your leader, right?
Yes.
So for some of us, I'm going to go off topic. Like some of us look to Donald Trump as a leader, right? And they did what they did, right? So if I'm going to look at to my pastor as a leader, and they're up there preaching about, is against religion to be gay, how can I look up to that pastor? Are you going to tell me to go to another church?
Again, yes, because it depends. So, okay, here's a great example. The church that I've grown up in and I continue to go to, my pastor will sometimes touch on same-sex marriages or, being gay in the Bible, but when she talks about it or when she touches on it, she also says, but I can't judge another person and I can't judge who they love or who they like.
But you're judging because you're talking about it, you're preaching about it, you're judging.
Her whole sermon is not on it. She may have a sermon about, let's just say, she'll have a sermon about, I don't want to say Adam and Eve, but she'll have a sermon about someone cut me off. No, someone cut me off this morning and I got angry or enraged and I wanted to smash their windows. But I realized God told me not to. Something like that. You get what I'm saying. But
so you think it's okay when you get mad to outrage and...
It's not. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, I'm giving an example, sir.
Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, see, now I forgot what I was saying. Because you really interrupted.
Because it's a lie.
It's not a lie.
Yeah. It's a lie. You can't look up to... Basically, the question is you cannot look up to your leader. That's the answer I'm getting.
Okay, I will say this. You should not... I know what I was about to say. But you should not look at your leader as God. Every person is human and every person has their flaws. So what I will say is...
But isn't a pastor representing God? Isn't the pastor duty to serve in a church and worship? Well, speak the Lord, about the Lord, should I say, right?
Yes.
No pastor is going to get up there and open the Bible and this is what he or she is going to speak about. I think when you get up in the morning, especially you, because you read your Bible night and day, I don't think you...
Not night and day.
Well, I don't think you naturally... Sorry, guys. Put this down. I don't think naturally you say, hey, I'm going to go to John 3:16. I think God said, points you into the direction that you're going to speak about.
Based off of the experiences you had, yes.
So, me personally was saying, the whole point of me saying this, I don't think a pastor would get up there and open the Bible and skip what that says and I'm going to talk about homosexual. You're still judging.
But the thing about it is...
You're still judging.
But every pastor is not talking about homosexual in a negative way. That's the thing. Sometimes pastors touch on homosexuality to entangle it into something else. What's the question?
The question is, the Bible says that every man has love, prayers, and wisdom. Wisdom and judgments are two different things. That part, the pastor, I don't know. I can't read. I don't know.
Why don't you click it and open it?
It doesn't allow me to. You will have to rewrite that whole question over because I don't know what you trying to say.
Write it in the comments.
Yeah, write it in the comments. But so basically it's like what I was saying. I think the pastor just goes up there and speak about certain things, and when you do speak about homosexual or adultery or whatever you speak about, I think you have the attention in the back of your head to speak about this. And that's my opinion. I don't think you just get up there and say, this is what we're going to talk about, guys. Because why every time when it comes to pride, they always want to talk about same sex? Or when it comes to Halloween, they want to talk about the devil, right? We get it.
But again, that depends on the church you go to, though. Because not every church will do that. And that's why I said, it takes time to find the right church for you.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. Because, yes, maybe a church you went to when you were... a church you went to when you grew up may not have the same views as you get older. So that's why you need to go to a different church. I'm not saying that you have to necessarily church hop.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying you have to find that church that you have a genuine connection with.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to ask a question.
Yeah. But and that's done.
Yeah, I know, but it's okay. Let it die.
But
what's not dying is our faith.
No, not at all.
But go ahead, guys. Put your comments in the comment area, because when you guys put it in a different area, we cannot review it, or I can see it, so that question cannot be asked. But anyway, viewers, you guys have more. Go ahead and ask. I would love to continue this and move on. So if you guys have anything else to say, if you don't, then I could close this up. Do you have a closing thing for the viewers or everyone out there that's whatever
struggling with their relationship with God?
Yeah,
I would basically say pray. What was that? I would say pray. I don't want to say read your word, because sometimes you have to find it. Like sometimes certain situations you go through in life.
The question is, guys, the Bible teaches you to pass wisdom, love, and prayer. Wisdom is the definition of judge. So when a pastor tries to use wisdom in their form of judgment, it's against what he is there to teach. And technically look at homophobic.
He looks like a hypocrite.
Yeah, I mean a hypocrite. Do y'all feel the same way? Because That's how I would look at it. Yes, I do feel that way because, like I said, if you're there preaching about God, right, and I want to find Him and I want to get close to Him, but yet you're talking about all this other stuff, like, how can I look at you? And that's the question that you still didn't answer. How can I look? Yeah, pray. Okay, got it. I do that every day. But how can I look to Him as my leader? You go to church, you look at your pastor as a leader. You don't just go to hear the word of God because you could do that on your phone, right or wrong. So I feel that, yes, he or she is being a hypocrite.
So yes, I do agree. He or she is being a hypocrite. Again, you can look at the leader, but the leader is not God. God is speaking through the leader in order to relay His people different messages. But again, each leader and each preacher is different. Each leader and each preacher is human. So they will fall short. They will have certain things that they do that you may not agree with, and that's up to you as an individual if you want to stay in that church and be under that leader and be taught under that leader, or if you want to leave and find another church.
But if I go to one, I'm not going to go to another because you keep saying go to another, and you're just hopping. And
so then in that essence, you know what you have to do? Why don't you speak to your friends who believe in God, who go to church? And why don't you ask them, what are your experiences in church? How do you feel when you go to your church? Can I come to your church? Would you invite me to your church? Because again, like I said, every church is different.
So you would invite a gay person to your church?
There's been many gay people who've come to my church. Yes,
the question is, would you invite them?
Yes, I would invite gay people to my church. Why would I not?
Would you invite a lesbian?
Yes, I would invite a lesbian.
Would you invite a transgender?
Yes, I would invite a transgender.
And they would be accepted as who
they will be accepted as an individual, as their own person. If they want to be called he, she, they, whatever the case is, they will be called by their appropriate pronouns. They will be accepted inside of the church. Everyone will greet them. Whatever they need in regards to being in the sanctuary, they will receive.
I get it. Wherever you go, you're right. Wherever you go, you'll find the same message. You don't have to go to church. So guys, I am going to wrap this up real quick. My next live will basically be about my come out story of me being gay. Thank you for tuning in with Life with Uncut with Jay. Thank you for Danny for sitting on the couch and talking about this touchy topic, because I know a lot of us will have a lot to say at the end of this video.
And if you have any questions, you can still comment.
Yes, guys, still comment. The video will be up, so we will try to get to you guys. With that being said, deuces!